What's going on, my friends? I hope you're well. I wanted to jump on here real quick and do a quick video. As I said, verse of the year, I'm going to sit down and do a series of some videos, talk about some things that have worked for me with verses to sync licensing and writing music for TV. I think I've said it once. I've probably said it way more than once. That writing production music for film, TV, and media is a little bit different beast than writing artistic music. But we'll talk about the ins and outs of that later. But I wanted to get on and talk about something I thought was very cool. Another channel that I may have mentioned to follow. Excuse me, my nose is itching. Whoo, it's one of those things. Quint Music. He's a great channel, man, and just another one to follow about the industry as a whole. Doesn't matter what genre of music you're doing. He does a few. I think he's hip-hop, R&B. I know he is. But he does other genres as well. Really like watching his videos because, I mean, I follow a lot of these guys, and I know you're probably asking, Chris, you've been doing sync music licensing for sync licensing. You've been doing this a good while. How many more videos do you need to watch? And I will tell you that you need to always be watching them. Always be following people. Always be learning. There's things that I learn, just small little tidbits, or inspires me or gives me good ideas. Like as in his video that came out, I think it was this morning. And you should always be doing that. He came out with a video talking about tools that you would use in doing sync licensing and such. And this video will be in that realm. I think it gave me a good idea to maybe share some of the tools that I use. And I'm not really referring to music tools as we talk about composing and stuff in your DAW. These are different kinds of things that you're going to do and stuff that I may have mentioned before, but I want to talk about again. I think is really cool and stuff that you're going to need to really, if you're going to get involved in this heavy, you're going to need to have things to be in place to organize your day, your week, your month, your year. You're going to need to be able to keep track of everything, especially if you're submitting to several different companies at a time. And I've got a few things that will help remind you of where your music's at, what's going on. And trust me, it's happened to me where actually about a week or so ago, I was sitting there going, wait a minute, I'm looking at some tracks, trying to look at that are sitting to a side, and I completely forgot where did those tracks go. And I had to go back and look that I had pitched them with a library that I'm still waiting on. I'm going to show you some tools that I use to kind of help you do that. You're going to have those moments. You definitely are going to have those moments. Don't think that you won't. And especially if you get a lot of briefs and stuff with deadlines, you're going to need to use this stuff. So we're talking about organization and tools to manage your life, really well. And I think this is the case with really anything that you do in life, but in music, there are some specific things that I think will help, So Clint talked about a calendar. Hell, everyone's got one. You've got them on your phones. You've got them on your tablet. You've got them on your computer, and I think he's right. I use Outlook's calendar from my email, but Gmail has one, and what it does is it'll come up on your phone and remind you, and it'll remind you in your email. Put it in that calendar, selecting events. And what I do if it's important, if I have an important Zoom meeting or something going on, I'll remind myself the day before that I have it at that time the next day, and a few hours before, you've got the Zoom meeting coming up, get ready for it, it's at noon. That's a reassurance that you're not going to forget that. If you just remind yourself the day before, not the day of, odds are you're going to get busy the next day and things going, oh man, I totally forgot that. And I've been there, I've done that. And I'll just leave it at that. So that will help you. Get a good calendar. I'd say the best calendar is the one on your devices. I use Apple stuff. They talk to each other. My iPad, my phone, my MacBook. Love it. I'm pretty sure you can work the same between your Android and your PCs or whatever you want to do. Even if you don't, it doesn't matter. You know where your calendar is and you know where your tools are and the things you need to do. So that's one. Second thing I do is I love to write notes. I've got a couple things that I use. One is I've just recently got this Rocket book, and what it is, it's a dry erase notebook. Now, I will tell you something here. I've made this mistake more than once, unfortunately, is that you're going to use these Flexion by Pilot. Sure, it's Pilot, yeah. Flexion dry erase pens. That's the only thing you should use with these. You can't use a regular pen, folks. You can't do it. Or you're going to be getting the rubbing alcohol and getting it off pretty quickly. Don't let it sit on there. You got to get it off quickly if you realize it. And I've done this before. And I will show you, excuse me one second here, that both of these pens look a lot alike, don't they? Hold on a second. I'm just looking at the camera. You see them. They look a lot alike. I've confused this pen for the dry erase. So keep these pens away and out of the way. Keep them out of sight and keep them out of mind. And that will solve that issue unless you need it. You know, these you can do signatures on paper, and if no one rubs on it, there's really no way. It'll set in the paper just fine. You can use it on paper because you can't rub it off. After about 10 or 15 seconds, this stuff dries on the dry erase. You can't rub it off. You need to wet a towel. They had a towel with the notebook, but you can use any old, you know, microfiber towel. Just wet the corner, do it off, and take a dry, wipe it off, wet it again. It's, you know, a lot of times I use paper towels that go behind it, but just like a dry erase board, no different, except it's in a notebook. That's tool number one. The next tool that I use, and I've talked about this, it's called GoodNotes, and it's incredible. Even if you don't want to use this, and that's okay, you can use GoodNotes on your iPad. They have GoodNotes, I believe, for Android as well as PCs. I'm not 100% sure, but I know it's on Mac, and it's in the App Store. And in fact, with the App Store, I'm going to share my screen here. And let's look up GoodNotes, because I can't remember the cost. It was, whatever it is, it was worth it, and it wasn't expensive. It was so cool. And I've got the GoodNotes 6. Once you buy it, you can upgrade it all you want. And GoodNotes is so cool. And this is it right here. And it, what is the cost on this thing? I do believe that there's a cost on it. Should say. But it's called GoodNotes, Notes Reimagined. And if you have an iPad that's got the Apple Pencil, it's so worth it, you know. Get this with the Apple Pencil. You can't go wrong with this. But the cost of it is so worth it. You can't beat it. And I found it to be the best thing known to man. I know you've got these what do they call them? These tablets now that they feel like paper and you can hear it, you know, like you're drawing with a pencil. But I didn't like it, man. I like GoodNotes better, you know, and you can get whatever, you can get pretty much whatever templates you want. You can download new templates and stuff that you can do. And in fact, I'll show you here. I think GoodNotes is the best for this. And it really is cool. And if you look at, you know, you can handwrite on it, and you can type, and you can highlight. There's so much cool things you can do. Now, it looks orange probably on the screen. However, it is yellow, the highlight. But you can highlight points. It's got the highlighter. You can do the size of the ink. You can use the type of the pen. And you've got different, you can do notebook paper on this deal. You can do grid paper. You've got document templates here. And you've got everything from dotted paper, square paper, ruled notebook paper, legal. You can do all kinds of stuff. Monthly planner. There's your monthly planner if you want to do that. Accounting template. Guitar tablatures, music score, music paper. And then there's others that you can get. There was a lot of other things. GoodNotes, man. I've mentioned that before. These tools are great for actually sitting down and jotting notes. Like during the day, you're gonna have to maybe get up away from your DAW and remember where you're at. Just say, well, what do I have left to do on this track? Add new part on the last 8 bars. Add transition effects. You get the point. But also notes in front of you about listing tracks you're trying to complete, and you've got notes on those tracks in that project. You're trying to do a 10-track album, and you list the tracks, and you're doing the BPM and the key, and you can jot the notes and stuff that you need to keep up with on projects. It's stuff that you would already know, and I know some people are like, you know, why do I want to do this? It seems like a job if I have to do that. No, it doesn't. I jot notes on everything I do. I used to take those yellow legal pads, and I loved it. It was awesome. So definitely a tool you need that'll help organize you. It really will. And just keeping up with things. If you have Schedule A sheets that, if you have a publisher that doesn't do Schedule A's digitally, copy a bunch of them and keep them into a document pouch. I've got one around here somewhere. You can get them at Staples, these clear document pouches that zip up, and keep them in there, and you can do it. Scan it in. If you're Another thing for a scanner, if you're going to scan documents, I use something called Tiny Scanner on your phone. Scans it just as good, and I'm telling you, as a desktop scanner. In today's times, you don't need a desktop scanner. Tiny Scanner does it. Scans it to a PDF, and you can email it straight from that. Save it to files, delete it when you're done. You get the point. You get the idea. Tiny Scanner, way to go. You literally could do a lot of this stuff on your phones and your computers and the app and not have to print any paper if you don't want to. There are some things, obviously, you're going to have to print, and I get it, If you're not really comfortable with reading contracts on a computer screen, I suggest you go staple somewhere, print it out, sit down with a highlighter and read that. We'll talk about all that later when we talk about contracts and stuff like that. But I will, on a side note, tell you that no matter what you do, save every email and save every document. Save this stuff. Do not ditch this stuff. Keep records of everything that you do. I know of some people that don't keep anything, and it's not good. I mean, especially your sessions and all your files. Keep everything, export all your tracks to audio files and your stems and your sessions. Do that. Don't not do that. But I'm going to show you the third tool before I wrap this up that I think is ideal, folks. It's the ideal tool, man, for you when it comes to organizing your music. And you're going to love this. I've talked about this before, but it's been a long time. And in fact, I want to look this up because it's been such a long time. I forgot the guy's name who did it, but he was heavily involved with Taxi and all that. And how I found out about this is I have never been to a Taxi road rally in person, but I went to one virtually back in 2020 when COVID hit. And it really caught my eye, and he was doing a panel with Michael Laszlo. So the guy's name's Keith LeBrant, and he developed something called Composer Catalog. Now, I have been using this, I think, about 3 years, and I absolutely love it. And when I got it, I had to go back, and I had to go to hard drives, and I had to go through all this music I had. I want to say probably at the time it was easy 1,000 tracks. I had to go through, and I had to catalog all of them, but so worth it. I'm telling you right now. So for your third tool that I suggest you use, I've talked about this before, it's so important, is something called Composer Catalog. Now I'm going to show you my screen, and we're going to go bring up composercatalog.com. Boom. It is composercatalog.com, folks. This tool right here, I'm telling you, out of everything that you do musically, this is the tool that will keep your music organized. And I can tell you, if you're just now starting out, this is the time to start doing this. Don't do like me and get in about 800 to 1,000 tracks into the game and have to go back and enter all this stuff. It took some time. I don't regret it, but start doing it now. And I'm going to bring up the tool, and I'm going to show you this. You can try it for free, but I'm telling you, you'll want to purchase it. You can do Windows or Mac. Some people are a little reluctant to use it because it doesn't go into iOS and all that stuff. I think eventually Keith will get that done. Keith did an amazing job on this. I think he's had some updates, and it's been a while, but I'm not even sure if I updated from his last one, but I haven't had any problems with it. I'm happy with what is happening now. It's very small, minute updates that maybe some things people are having problems with, but if you can purchase this here for Mac, and there's a price on it, $79. I think I got it, I thought at one time it was more than that. I think I got it for like 50 or 60 bucks, maybe less than that, because the discount he gave at the road rally. But I'm telling you right now, guys, the $79 is more than worth it. I'm telling you, it's more than worth it. So, and with that said, I'm going to open up Composer Catalog here, and we're we're going to open it up here, and this is it. This is the interface, folks. And I don't know if I've shown this before, but you get your total track count down here, 1,411 tracks. I think I got a few more tracks than that. I just don't have everything in here. Maybe some release stuff I've done. But I've got quite a bit. Now, you've got reminders. You can organize stuff in here. That stuff I haven't even done on this stuff, and I'm telling you. You got reports. You can have a list of writers. You've got a list of publishers, musicians, all this stuff. Now, when you go into your tracks here, you got a whole menu up here where you can create a new track. They got track profiles, which what you do is you just set up, it's like a template profile for the track. In other words, for attention tracks, you want to go ahead and bring up a profile for attention, and then auto-fill some stuff so you don't have to go fill it in every time. You can add a new musician, you can add a new publisher, a new reminder, a new writer. You can tag incomplete tracks. You can export your database. I back this, export this, and I back it up on a hard drive. As well as for every track that I do, I render an MP3 and I upload it into my file on my computer. I back it up as well. So I attach an MP3 to every track that I'm doing. If you look right here, you see his musical notes. That means there's audio attached to that file. And if you bring this, double click this track up, you get a box and it tells you. You've got your general information here. It doesn't state a track profile, but there was one used to create this. So I'm not 100% versed in every little nitpick item on this. I'm just not meticulous at this. There's guys that do everything on here, enter every bit of information that this thing offers, and I don't do it. It's not needed. My biggest concentration, and it should be yours, is to make sure it's the name of the track, its proper name, what it is, the track's completed, the key, the duration, BPM, and it's registered and signed. If it's signed, I always hit yes, and I always hit registered because it's going to be registered eventually. Now, what you can do is that if you don't have this track signed and you've got a 10-track album done that you're pitching, excuse me, is that you just put not complete, unsigned. You see your menu here. Lyrics only, mastering stage. You can put it to whatever stage it's on, music only. I do tracks completed, and then I'll put music instrumental there to that. So, but under track completed, you've got needs a remix, needs remastering, pitch to artist, pitch to music supervisor, pitch to publisher, tracks completed, tracks started. So you can select whatever stage and you can pull a report from that being. You put your writers in here, you put your publishers in here, your musicians in here, you put your lyrics in here if you want it, comments about the track, metadata. You can put any metadata you need. I don't get meticulous with that. I get in the ballpark because you can export the stuff as CSV files for spreadsheet stuff if somebody needed them. I've never done that. I'd have to find out how to do it. But next, in the last box here, you can upload audio to this. You can do an image of that file, whatever you want to do. And that audio will bring up the track, and you can play it here or close it out, and you can just select it here, and you can hit the play button up here. Now, another thing up here in reports, you've got reports where you can look up whether the track, you bring up all your exclusive or non-exclusive tracks, master or alternate titles, publisher inventory. In other words, you could bring up a publisher and you can bring the inventory, what you got. Registered or not registered? Is it registered or is it not registered? Signed or not signed? This is the one where if you've got tracks, you're still trying to pitch it to a library, it's not signed, you can enter them and put it in the not signed category. And it will bring up a file folder. In fact, I need to check to make sure there's nothing in here that says not signed. Generate, and we have nothing. This window will pop up. You can print this out. I've done it before. Print your list. You can save it, whatever you want to do. But there's a lot of things you can do. But under your reports, whether it's signed and track distribution, I don't know what that is. I haven't used it. But like I say, you've got help files. You could email Keith and he can answer your question as well. He's really cool at answering everyone's questions, and I cannot stress enough how what an amazing tool this is. Speaking of tools to use, this can really, organize everything that you do in projects especially. But you've got reminders here. If you want to list reminders, date and time, I haven't done this. I'll do this. I'll write down on my good notes or that notebook, or I'll put it in the calendar. But there's so many things you can do with reports. You got all your writers listed. You can compile everything here in a one-stop shop, and it would really take care of everything you need. So guys, Composer Catalog, man, I cannot stress it enough. I would definitely go with this if I were you. It's definitely worth the money, and I can't say any more good about it except it's just fantastic. You can definitely generate certain metrics and reports of. You can go in here and you can break down how these things are performing, distribution, publisher breakdown, do a lot of stuff. I think in time, if it comes to mind, Keith may add some more features to this. I don't know what more he could add. This is just a great organization tool. And that's one of the most important things I can tell you is please know where your tracks are at all times. Know if you have a library, you uploaded it with a particular track title and the library changes the title. That's becoming another issue, which is not an issue for you, but an issue for them, that libraries will take your track and they'll rename it their own and tell you you can use that title for another track elsewhere. If they haven't used that title, they will rename it, and I'll tell you why. I have a publisher that sat down with me and talked to me at the Production Music Conference about people registering their tracks after they get it to a library, and that was the reason why I said please don't do that, because they're getting confusion where, and he's shown me the email with all the stuff where the BMI or ASCAPs message them going, which track is yours? I see 2 registrations for this track, which is yours? And you don't need to register your tracks if you're putting in a publishing library, guys. Please don't do that. You're causing problems for them. So they have gone to just actually renaming the track arbitrarily, so going forward they don't have any more frustration with that. It's caused them a lot of work to have to go back and tell the composer, if you can get that registration, take it down, please do it. But don't register your tracks. Please don't do that. Let us handle that. It's causing problems. It really is. You wouldn't think that because you're afraid, you want to make sure that it gets paid and blah, blah, blah. But you're just causing problems is all you're doing. So anyway, this tool will help you organize all that. If they change that title, as I said, go back to here and make sure you change it in here because the audio matching the title. And that will help you tremendously. So folks, that's Composer Catalog indeed. So definitely, my friends, those tools will help you. And I'm just passing on what works for me. Some of them are self-explanatory, but if you haven't thought about it, you should. Use these tools to organize. You're going to if you get involved in this and you get heavy, you're going to get busy. You're going to have to jot notes. You're going to have to keep up with things. And you don't want to lose track of it. Trust me, you don't. So I wanted to pass that on. I hope you guys, right now when I'm saying this, I think it's Christmas Eve. So I hope you guys have a great Christmas, New Year, holiday season. And we'll see you at the first of the year. Be cool. Have a great one.